Hey, y'all, welcome back to episode 30 of the Late Night Vision Show. I am Hans, and as always, I've got my buddy Jason, whose belly is probably a little bit bigger, and he's gone down or raised his belt loop up maybe a couple more holes a little bit, you know?
Well, let me tell you something. It was a feast for Thanksgiving, and we love turkey around our house, and so every year I cook a turkey in the oven. We're excited, couldn't wait, but a couple days before Thanksgiving, I thought it'd be a super idea to try to smoke a turkey. I'd never done it. I said I wanted to try, but I didn't want to have all the family over and screw that up. So I smoked a turkey and cooked a turkey in the oven.
Man.
And they both turned out great, but man, we've had a lot of turkey.
That sounds like a lot of work. That sounds, but you know, with Thanksgiving, what you're thankful for. I'm going to say I am thankful that last week's episode is over. The one with the wives, as much as I loved having them on the show. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how much grief. So if you didn't catch it, go check last week's episode 29. We had the wives on, and we had a battle of the sexes where we asked them night vision, thermal, hog hunting, predator hunting questions, and they asked us all kinds of random stuff. But I'm going to tell you, I have caught more grief in the last 4 days about not knowing my wedding song than I even care. And I'm going to tell you, I did not know the answer to the question, what was our wedding song that we danced to. I didn't know it. I couldn't think of it. But my wife, she didn't say this, but she had to look up the answer too before the show because she couldn't remember what it was either. So I should get a little bit of a reprieve from that.
I think that gives us the half a point to get us to 6 points for the win. That's what I think. Okay, so the wives aren't here. All in favor that we actually won the show, say aye.
Yeah,
aye. I think that's us. We won.
Yeah, but I have to say I was very impressed that they knew as much as they did, because there were some of those questions are, for somebody that doesn't know anything about night vision or thermal or hunting, some of them would probably be very difficult, and they did pretty good. It got to hand it to them.
I was impressed. I really was. I guess that my wife probably listens to me more than I listen to her sometimes.
No doubt. Well, we're glad that you joined us this week. Thank you for checking out the show last week. If you hadn't, go check it out. There's a lot of got a lot of comments on it, a lot of people laughing about some of our answers and some of our wives' answers, but it was fun to have them on. We're thankful for our wives, but we are thankful that show is over and in the books.
I'm telling you, it was stressful, and the whole idea of us asking them some questions, Hans had come up with that idea and was like, okay, we'll do it. They didn't know what we were going to do, but we finally told them, yeah, we're going to ask y'all some questions, and they said, okay. The next thing I know, the day of the show, they're like, hey, we're going to ask you questions too. And we're like, this is our show. Yeah. You don't get it. But you know what? It worked out really well. It was a lot of fun. But, I'm going to tell you something. I'm glad it's over, but it's still not over because my wife is just she's not letting me live this down. It's on about, I'm just telling you, everybody's going to want us back on the show. They're going to love Crystal and I. She's just giving it to me, just loving the fact that they were on here.
My wife, to get her head through the door, you got to put grease on both sides of it. No, I'm joking, but I know what you mean. But hey,
they had a good time.
Hey, I want to give a quick shout out, Jason. I want to give a shout out to Tucker and Blake. They have a YouTube channel called the Texas Bottomland Night Hunts, and they invited me out last weekend, and we were in basically a subdivision where they're building new homes, and there's some homes out there, and we were hunting in people's yards. We ended up getting 3 big hogs, and it was fun, man, riding around on a golf cart, in between houses and stuff. But they completely tore up these people's land and houses, and they were happy to have us out there and killing hogs. And it was nice for them to invite me out. We had a great time, and those guys are great dudes. They put out some funny videos on YouTube though. Y'all got to go check them out. There's some good East Texas guys right there.
Well, I tell you something. Speaking of YouTube, when we were talking about our show last week, if you already haven't, if you're listening to this, in your truck, that's fine. I know a lot of people are listening on their way back and forth to work, but if you have a chance, go to YouTube and search for The Late Night Vision Show and subscribe to us there, because we are putting all these shows out on video. And I know a lot of the times, if it's not that interesting to look at Hans and I's ugly mug sitting here for 30 minutes. So Really, though, if you are in front of your computer, sometimes it's fun to watch it that way, especially last week's show.
Yeah.
That was a great show with the wives on there. So go check that out. And it was a lot of fun. But, you can find the Late Night Vision show there. Definitely don't just look it up. Subscribe. Do the same thing when you're there. You might as well go ahead and type in 2 more searches, and that's going to be Hans ETX and Outdoor Legacy Gear. Click subscribe on those as well. You can find both Hans and I's YouTube channel, and I know that Hans is releasing all kinds of great videos once a week, every week.
Yeah.
It seems without fail. And where else can they find you, Hans?
Well, I think on, like you said, YouTube, Hans ETX, and also on Instagram, Hans ETX. Those are the 2 main places you can find me. Also, I do have a hunting blog, and I've never talked about it, but I've got a website. It's www.hansetx.com. I post pictures, links to new videos if you want to keep up to date with some of that stuff. So I do have a hunting blog out there, and check all that out.
Well, cool. Well, if y'all are looking for any kind of night vision or thermal, or you have questions, and that's one thing that I stress on, is that don't feel like you just need to call me when you're ready to buy. Call me when you want to buy, but you don't know what to buy. Because Hans and I try to do this show where we explain all kinds of things. We do reviews. We try to help people. But, I've talked to so many people today that go, okay, this is so confusing. I don't know where to start. There's too many scopes. Help me. And it's
Yep.
and I tell people it's not that hard. We can do it. I know it seems overwhelming, but let me ask you a few questions and we'll get going, and we'll number this down to 2 or 3 scopes in a hurry. So when you get ready, you've got those questions, feel free to call me 877-350-1818. And I'm going to tell you, this time of year, leave a message if I don't answer. It does not mean that I'm out hunting or out fishing or doing anything else. It means that I am on the phone. Hans knows how busy he's been helping me out and answering some of my phone calls for me, and it's just busy this time of year. But leave me the message. I want to talk to you. You can always find me at outdoorlegacygear.com.
Well, you might be out running a cow to the sale barn, though. That has happened a time or 2. No, that's only when I call.
Sometimes on Thursdays I am a little busy because the sale barn, does, the sale's going on.
But he will call you back, no doubt. He will call you back right away.
That's about my only luxury during the week.
Yeah.
A lot of times I don't even take off for lunch, but on Thursdays I do want to go to the sale barn for a little while. So I'm not going to lie about that. But hey, let's get back to it. We've got a great show this week. We're really excited about it. We have got a guest for another interview. We haven't done an interview in a few weeks, and this one's going to be a good one. We have got a representative from Envision Optics. Envision is the company that makes the Atlas that Hans and I did a review on a couple weeks ago, and we have got a guy over there that we've been doing some work with, talking with about the Atlas, and we're going to do some interviewing of him, and we're going to ask him all the questions that we've been getting about Envision, and hopefully y'all will stay tuned for that. If you'll stick with us in just a second, we'll be back with the interview. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. Thanks for sticking around for this segment. We're very excited about the guest we've got today. We've got Matt Champney. Matt is from Envision, and he and I have been working together a lot recently when we were doing the demoing and testing out the Envision Atlas. So Matt, welcome to the Late Night Vision Show.
Well, thank you very much. Good to be here.
Well, Matt, this is Hans. Like Jason said, we're glad to have you here. There's a lot of people out there that are hearing about Envision sometimes for the first time, but there's been a lot of talk about it. So really, we're just going to jump right into it. And we really want to find out, first of all, who is Envision? Tell us a little bit about the company, how long you've been around, and, kind of shed some light on this new, exciting company that's kind of breaking into the market right now.
Well, that's a great question. And this is a really good opportunity for us because many of your listeners may not have heard about Envision Optics. So this is a really great time for me to introduce Envision and let everyone know who we are and exactly what we're all about. So Envision Optics, we are a U.S. night vision and thermal optics manufacturer based out of Needham, Massachusetts. Now that's about 10 minutes outside of Boston. We were founded in 2003, so we've been in business now for 15 years. Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah, 15 years now. So since about 2003, since 2003, until really the beginning of 2018, we were primarily focused on the international and domestic military and law enforcement market. As you guys can imagine, the demand for night vision and thermal optics in these markets has been pretty steady over the last 15, 20 years. So as of now, our products can be found in use, all over the globe with our allies in North America, South America, Europe, Asia, even Australia, New Zealand. Domestically, our products are in use by the U.S. Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, various special forces units, as well as law enforcement agencies at the local, state, and federal level all across the country. So right now we have thousands and thousands of units in use by our clients, both internationally and within the United States.
Wow. Now, Matt, are a lot of those units mostly night vision, or are they thermal and night vision? I know you've been around since '03, and I know thermal is obviously becoming much more popular, especially with consumer market now. But kind of break that down for me. How much thermal have y'all been doing, and how much thermal, is that something new for you, or?
No. So when we first started, we were a night vision manufacturer. And for about 10 years now, we have been playing with thermals, and we have distributed our thermals, to law enforcement and military all over the globe as well. So as well as our night vision, our thermals can also be found, all over the globe in mostly thermal weapon sites.
Very cool. Very cool.
Well, let me ask you this, Matt. So with the changeover from being focused more on military and law enforcement, what created the change to go into the civilian side of night vision and thermal?
Well, we really for a while had just been focused strictly on military and law enforcement, and it wasn't until 2018 when we developed the Atlas with the 12 micron BAE core where we said, we really have something here, and there is a large demand with predator hunting, with thermal hunters in the United States, where we should be able to take what we know, create products, and offer them to the civilian domestic market.
Well, I think that makes a lot of sense because, there's a lot of companies that exist that are, a lot of them are very large, legitimate companies that have been doing business a long time that the consumers, the general public knows nothing about. Those companies exist solely to, feed product to military law enforcement, at the federal, state, local level, and the general consumer won't know anything about them. And it kind of makes sense. Now I see where, Envision is coming from on that, and why you can come out with something like the Atlas. It's not your first rodeo. You didn't just pop up. You just popped up on the consumer market, per se.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now I feel kind of embarrassed for saying, hey, you're new in the industry. And he's like, fool, we've been around for 15 years.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, no, that does explain a lot. That does explain a lot, and that's a great story.
Mm-hmm. It really is. So let me ask this. The Atlas is something that, if anybody's been following our podcast, we have been talking about it. We did a demo of it a couple weeks ago. We did a whole review. I had the Atlas for several weeks, then Hans got it. We both got out there and used it. And for those that don't even know what the Atlas is, in case you missed that show, the Atlas is a high-end BAE core 12 micron 640 by 480 thermal binocular. And I'm right there. It's a binocular, technically, isn't it, Matt? Yeah. Okay, it's a binocular. So what that means is it has two eyepieces, but one objective lens. Whereas a normal set of binoculars would have two objective lens and two individual eyepieces connected to those objectives. But this is a binocular. So when you look through it, for all practical purposes, you're looking through a binocular. That's what you feel like. And so it's super high quality, amazing image quality. And if you want to know more about it, go check out our show from a couple weeks ago where Hans and I did the full review, and Hans has got a YouTube video out on it as well. But so go ahead and I want to ask you some questions, some things that I honestly don't know about the Atlas, and that is, when did you release it? I know it just kind of popped up and I started hearing about it, making some waves earlier this year, but when did it really hit the market?
So the Atlas thermal binocular hit the market last SHOT Show. So last January, we released the thermal binocular, the Atlas, and it's been on the market ever since. Very
good. And so is that now? Let me bring up one other thing. There was a complaint that, and I know that you had mentioned this, I think maybe on a comment or something on either, I don't know if it was our review of it or Hans's YouTube review, but there was a comment that we had a complaint that we didn't like the way that the menus completely blacked out. You couldn't see the screen, the display when you were in the menu. So if you made changes, you didn't know what you're doing. I really don't. This is a little bit of a leading question. I know there's been some change, but I don't know what it is. Tell us, did y'all make some kind of software change there or update?
Yeah, so one of the biggest concern or complaint that we had with the Atlas was the blackout menu screen. Users were not able to see their setting adjustments in real time, and as a result, some people weren't optimizing the image quality that the Atlas is capable of. So we listened to our customers, we heard their feedback, and effectively we have completely gotten rid of this feature on our new run of Atlases. Now, on the new Atlases, there is no longer a blackout menu mode. Users will be able to see their adjustments in real time and will be able to optimize their image quality to their liking.
Very cool. And so basically, for just in case somebody doesn't understand what that is, what Matt's saying is that when you now pull up the menu, you will be able to see the menu, but you will still see your screen. You'll still see the display. And if you're making changes to brightness, contrast, or other settings to adjust your image quality, you'll be able to see those changes live. And that was a complaint, and just because some of those settings in there were very detailed things that I wasn't even exactly sure what they were. And I was like, I wonder what this does. But you had to make the change and then go back and see and then try to remember if it changed anything. So that's going to be really cool. And I can't wait to actually test a new one out that had that software update.
Absolutely. We actually just released those last week. Shortly after your review went up, our new run of Atlases hit the market. And so they'll all be updated from now on.
All right, so I'm going to ask the question that I know that there's some people wanting to know, and it's what if a guy bought an Atlas, 3 months ago? Is there any way to update his, or is he kind of just stuck where it is? I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I just figured I'd ask because we know we're going to get that question.
Well, as of right now, yes, unfortunately, there's no easy way to just switch it out.
Gotcha.
It's
not. I just wanted to ask. I don't know if it was like a firmware update or something that he could do, or no big deal. So, yep. Well, that's good. I tell you what, I think that shows a lot right there. That y'all are listening and you're willing to make changes as needed. So I'm impressed by that.
Well, so my experience with the Envision Atlas, I'm going to tell you, it was what an amazing picture that binocular gets, and just not just the great resolution, but the change, because many of us are so used to using the monocular and looking through one eye, but being able to look through two eyes through that binocular, really, man, it made the animals almost come alive, or come like I tell people, it's like watching it on a movie screen, out there. And I did tell Jason I had to get used to it because I ran into something in the dark because I was looking through both eyes and not paying attention where I was going. I still got the big bruise on my leg to prove it. But hey, let us tell us this, Matt. Hey, the Envision Atlas, it's a great optic. It's getting a lot of popularity. People want to see it. People want to look through it. People want to get it and order it. But what is new coming down the line with Envision? What do you have that you'd like to share with us and everybody on the show as far as new products?
Well, the newest release that we're coming out with this January at SHOT Show is our new thermal weapon sights. They will be utilizing the same 12 micron BAE core as the Atlas. They'll be known as the Halo series weapon sight. So you have the Halo LR, the 50 millimeter version, and you have the Halo. That's a 25 millimeter version. Both of them are going to be using the 12 micron BAA core. They have 640 by 480 resolution, IP67 waterproof rating, so they should be completely waterproof. They got the OLED displays, 50 millimeter germanium lens, and that's the 25 millimeter germanium lens. They're going to be available in 3 different polarity viewing modes: black hot, white hot, and Edutech mode. They're going to run off of 4 CR123 batteries with a 4-hour continuous runtime. May have a battery solution in the works to provide extended battery life, but I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit more. They're going to have internal memory for image capture. They're going to have recording by external DVR.
Well, so let me ask a couple questions about, Halo is what they're going to be called, right?
Yes, Halo.
All right.
Stands for Heat-Seeking Adaptable Lightweight Optic.
Oh, okay. That stands for something. That's cool.
Awesome.
So let me ask this, and if you can't say it, just tell us. But do we have any sort of a approximate price point of a range of where these might be, or is that not public knowledge yet?
As of right now, we are not releasing our price points, but I can tell you that it will be significantly less expensive than the 60 millimeter Trigicons, and will also be cheaper than the 35 millimeter Trigicon.
Nice.
Okay, so he said the T word. We had been avoiding the word.
He threw it out there first.
And he threw it. So now that he threw it out there, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it and just say again, we love Trigicon scopes. They're great optics, and I'm sure the guys at Envision, won't deny that either. But I think it is, and y'all are using the same core, right? The BAE 12 micron core. So I think it's really going to be interesting to get another scope up there in that, in that same image quality, and give the consumer some options there, because I think it's going to be, and especially if the pricing is even going to be a little bit better, I think that's going to put a squeeze on Trigicon, and I think it's also going to be interesting to see what happens with some of the players like Pulsar and FLIR, who I know FLIR right now doesn't have anything new in their Boson 640s, but Pulsar's got some nice 640s with the 17 microns, but it's going to be interesting to see. I think there's going to be a power play here as y'all stuff comes out, maybe undercutting the price a little bit and then squeezing down on top of, again, Pulsar and whatever FLIR comes out with. And it may force them to kind of come down on the 640 price as well, because they're not going to have anything that I'm assuming here. I shouldn't say this. I don't know. Assuming they don't have a 12 micron, so this is going to be really interesting to see what happens in this market for 2019.
Absolutely. I mean, we're focused on bringing the absolute best image quality possible to the market for the hunting community, and we want to bring the most practical functionality for true hunters to the market. So when we release that January 22nd at SHOT Show, hopefully the community recognizes this and decides to give Envision Optics a try.
Well, what do you think, Matt? I mean, and I know, look, first of all, SHOT's really not that far. We're basically less than 60 days. So what do you think a realistic ship time is going to be? Is this something you think you're going to be able to get in the hands of the consumers in the first or second quarter of 2019, or is it going to be something maybe come out later in the year?
Yes, we plan on taking orders at SHOT Show. Okay,
great. Well, I'm going to be, Hans and I'll both be there, so we're going to come look you up and shake your hand, and we'll put some orders in then.
Well,
sounds great.
I tell you, with that Atlas coming out, and now that you've told everybody to be looking for the Halo, I know there's going to be a lot of excitement out there, because the interest since the Atlas, especially since we talked about it on the podcast, the videos that have come out, we've gotten a lot of people asking about it. I had a buddy I hunted with last week. He said, "Did you bring that Atlas with you?" And I was like, "No, I had to give it back." And he was disappointed, because everybody wants to look through it because they see and they've heard about how great the image is. And I'm going to tell you, it is as good as everybody has talked about, and everybody that's used it will agree and say the same thing. So y'all did a great job on it.
Well, thank you. And just so everyone knows, our warranty policies on all of our thermal products are 5 years. So anyone who buys a thermal weapon sight from us, anyone who buys an Atlas thermal binocular, comes with a 5-year warranty.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's talk about that, Matt. You brought it up, so I'm gonna push you off the deep end here, but as the owner of a thermal optics company, that a dealer, I talk to customers all day, and the question that comes up almost every single time, and if they don't bring it up, I bring it up, is customer service. And a lot of times I know that a guy gets down to maybe 2 different scopes he can't decide, and he is hung, and they're both great scopes. They would both do him fine for what he's wanting to do hunting. And I get the question of, okay, which one has the best customer service? And that's the deal breaker sometimes of, okay, this one has a better customer service, I'll go with it. So, I mean, tell us, what is your customer service like? And I mean, obviously, 5-year warranty is impressive. What happens if a guy gets an Atlas, or in next year he gets a Halo, he has a problem with it down the road, heaven forbid, and he's going to need to call y'all and send it back? What's the process there? What's it look like?
Well, the process is pretty simple and straightforward. You call Envision Optics. You'll either get me or my sales manager, Scott Stewart. If we cannot walk you through the issue over the phone and fix your unit for you over the phone, we'll set up an RMA. You send it back to us. As soon as we get it, we're going to get it inside the lab. We're going to diagnose the problem, repair the problem, make sure it's up to our standards, test it again, and we'll send it out to you immediately.
Okay, so I know the busier y'all get, you're going to be growing, you're going to get bigger. I know you'll be getting, more stuff back. I mean, hopefully not, but it's just the life of things. They're electronics. There's going to be some things that mess up. So as that process, you get more things back. I mean, right now, let's say, what kind of a turnaround time is a guy looking at? A couple weeks, a month? I mean, how long?
Right now, you are not looking at a very long turnaround time at all. You get that unit back to us, we diagnose it, fix it, repair it, send it right back to you. We're talking maybe a couple days turnaround.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, I asked because there's a night vision and thermal company that will not be named that I know. I had a customer. I had a customer who called me and was buying another scope, and he's got one of these this company that will not be named, one of their brand scopes, and he's got a problem with it, and sent it in, and they said it would be 3 months before they could get it back to him. They said they were just that far behind, and I'm like, 3 months? That's insane. So, yeah, well, that's great. Customer service is a really big deal, and I've got to say that every time that I've called up there, somebody's answered. I've talked to Matt. I've talked to somebody. Y'all's customer service has been great. And I'm going to say this too. Sometimes, and this is to your benefit, so stick with me here. Sometimes I'll have people that'll ask and they'll say, how big is, whatever, XYZ, thermal company or night vision company? And, I'll answer the question. And there's some people who, there's different theories. Some guys are like, oh, I want a big one. I want somebody that's huge. They're never going away. They're going to be there. And then the other guy goes, I want a small company because I want to know who I'm going to get. And I'll just tell you, having dealt with all these companies, I want the small company. I want to be able to know that Matt is the guy I need to call. And if Matt can't help me, he can give me the first name of somebody else I need to call. And so I think a small company, it doesn't mean you don't do a lot of business, but just the fact that you're not a Fortune 500 company, I think is actually a good thing, because I'd rather deal with a small company with a select number of employees where I can talk to the same person if I call again, which is how some of the night vision and thermal companies I deal with are. And some of them have got 2,800 employees and you'll never talk to the same person twice. And that's a pain. So I think that's a good thing to hear that, y'all are focused on service and as being, you don't have 2,800 employees.
Absolutely. I mean, at Envision Optics, we're really focused on quality, the absolute best image performance we can possibly get to our customers, and customer service. That's what we are really focused on.
Right.
Well, I think with those three things, if you keep that up, you're going to do great.
All right. Well, hey, Matt, if somebody is going to try to find Envision or find any of your products, where should they go?
Well, you can start at www.envisionoptics.com, or you can give us a call at 781-505-8360, or you can email us at info@envisionoptics.com. If you want to get signed up for our newsletters or get our latest updates, follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is EnvisionOptics. And, we'd be glad to hear from you. Please give us a call anytime you need any information or need any help with your products.
All right. Well, thank you, Matt. Thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate all the information that you gave us. Everybody go check out Envision Optics. I'm going to tell you, there's with the Atlas that they have out right now and the new stuff they have coming out, you need to keep an eye on this company. They've got great quality stuff, and I look forward. Man, I know that they're going to send us something to test, Jason, right? I mean, come on now. We got to.
I think it's called a Halo.
That's
right. Halo LR. I think that's what it is.
We need to get back on the podcast. I want to hear you.
Yeah. Sure.
Absolutely.
Hey, let's do it. We'll be checking the mailbox.
That's right. Well, we appreciate it, Matt. Everybody go check them out. Envision Optics, I'm going to tell you, you got to do it. It's a great company. Matt, you've been a great guest. Thank you again. And y'all join us right back after the break, and we'll close out the show.
All right, y'all. Thanks for sticking with us again. Look, we hope y'all enjoyed that interview with Matt from Envision. He's a super nice guy, and I tell you what, I'm really excited about Envision and what they're going to be doing in the future of night vision and thermal optics. And I want to say this: I know some of those questions and some of that talk might have seemed like softball. It really wasn't. We wanted to. We already know we've been dealing with them over the last couple months. They're a great company. And if we didn't believe in them and what they were doing, and we hadn't, have some experience with their service and their products, we wouldn't have had them on the show. So we were glad to have them on there, and glad to learn some more about them.
We're going to unveil at SHOT Show in January the Halo, so we're excited about that. So there was some breaking news, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am serious. Hans and I are both going to be at SHOT Show, and we'll go out there. We'll meet with them there. Maybe we'll get some pictures and some info, and we can report back live from SHOT Show for the Late Night Vision Show listeners. So anyway, folks, thanks again. This was episode 30. I can't believe we've got 30 episodes in the can. Thank you for sticking with us all these episodes, and be sure to check back next week every Thursday. You can find us on all the major podcast apps and YouTube. Don't forget, also, you can find us on Facebook and on Instagram. So thanks for listening, folks, and as always, stay safe in the fields and keep on shooting those hogs and coyotes.